Hello children, how are you all? I hope you are fit and fine. Children, as you all know, we have started 2 days back this new chapter, that is chapter number 1, the 3 questions. And the first part of the story we have completed yesterday, and the chapter was explained, first part of the chapter was explained, and we have discussed a lot of things, and we have seen there was a king who asked 3 questions to become a successful person in his life, and he sent messenger throughout his country, and he got not very appropriate answer. So he went to the hermit, a person who is living alone in the woods. So he went over there, and after he went over there, what type of answer he got, that we will be continuing in the second part of the chapter. So before going to start our second part of the story, we will solve some comprehension check that we have already done the previous part, first part of the chapter. So on the basis of the first part of the chapter, we will complete comprehension check today. So before going to complete our comprehension check, I would like to tell you few word meanings which are already given in your book, but few word meaning I have already given you in yesterday's video. So digging, break up and move earth with a tool or machine or with hand. So this is the meaning of digging. And the next is breathe heavily. So this is to breathe slowly and loudly. The meaning of breathe heavily, it means to breathe slowly and loudly. Now children, sped, as we have talked about this tool. So a tool with a sharp edged, typically rectangular metal blade and a long handle, and it is used for digging the soil or the earth. So that is why it is used. And now the next word was there, that is stuck. Stuck means push a sharp or pointed object into or through. So this is the meaning of stuck. So these meaning we have discussed yesterday's video, and today we are going to continue this comprehension check, which you can find on page number 10 in your honeycomb book. So page number 10, the first question is, why did king want to know answers to 3 questions? So now, as we have discussed in our previous part of the story, that king wanted to become a successful person in his life. That is why he wanted the answer of 3 questions. So children, we will write this answer, and after that, the second question is, messenger were sent throughout the kingdom. And here some options are given: to fetch wise men to find answers to the question, and the third one is to look for the wise hermit, to announce a reward for those who could answer the questions. So here we have to mark the choice, which is correct option. We just put a mark on that. So first of all, we will write first answer. So this is comprehension check. And answer number 1, that is, why did king want to know answers to 3 questions? The king wanted to become a successful person in his life. That's why he wanted these answers. So the king wanted to become a successful person in his life. That is why he asked these type of the question, and he searched these answers. That is why he called so many wise men from his country. Now messengers were sent throughout the kingdom. To fetch wise men, to find answers to the question, to look for the wise hermit, to announce a reward for those who could answer this question. So what is the correct answer? I think to announce a reward for those who could answer this question. So this is the 4 number is correct. Answer number 2 is 4th is correct. Okay, 4th number is correct. So to announce the reward for those who could answer the question. So children, the first answer you can be also be written like this. So you can write this. The king wanted to know the answers to the 3 questions because he wished to become a successful ruler. Because the king was a king and he is a ruler, so that is why I have written this again, that he wanted to become a successful ruler. Okay, because as a person he wanted to become a successful person, but because his designation was the king, so that is why this is ruler. He wanted to become a successful ruler. Now answer number 2 is, number 4 is correct, that is to announce a reward for those who could answer the questions. Okay, now children, we have completed first part of the story and we have completed comprehension check number 1. So I am going to start second part of the story. So first of all, I read this part of the story and then I'll explain paragraph wise. So children, take out your book, page number 10. This is second part of the story. The king turned round and saw a bearded man running towards them. His hands were pressed against his stomach, from which blood was flowing. When he reached the king, he fainted and fell to the ground. The king and the hermit removed the man's clothing and found a large wound in his stomach. The king washed and covered it with his handkerchief, but the blood would not stop flowing. The king redressed the wound until at last the bleeding stopped. Now children, here you can see the last line in the first part. If we will connect with the last line of the first part of the story, then we will be able to understand what is going on in the second part of the story. So last paragraph of the first part of the story, I'll read first. So 1 hour passed, then another. The sun went down behind the trees, and at last the king stuck the spade into the ground and said, I came to you, wise man, for an answer to my question. If you can give me no answer, tell me so, and I'll return home. Here comes someone running, said the hermit. Without listening, his statement, the king's statement, hermit, avoid everything, and it just wanted to convey only this, that someone is coming towards them. Only this much he conveyed at the last line of the first part of the story. So here children, that person who was running towards them, he reached, and which type of the person he was, that you can see in this second part of the story. So second part of the story, in the first paragraph, the king turned round and saw a bearded man running towards them. Because at the back, the hermit face was in front and the king was at the back of that pathway. And when the hermit saw the man was running towards them, so he said that someone is coming. But when the king turned his face, what he saw? He saw a bearded man. It means those who are having beard. So that type of the person he was, and he was wounded. And the bleeding was going on from his stomach. Okay. So here you can see from which blood was flowing, and his wound was inside his stomach, and he was wounded, totally wounded, and He was so tired, or you can say because of his bleeding, continuous bleeding. So that is why he was feeling very low, and he fainted at the at the front of the hermit. Here you can see which blood was flowing. When he reached the king, he fainted and fell to the ground. When he reached to the king, because king's face was turned back, and when he turned back to that person, he saw that bearded man and the person who was coming throughout that pathway. He fainted near the king's leg or foot. So the king and the hermit removed the man's clothing and found a large wound in his stomach. And they started, hermit and the king started putting off his clothes, because they wanted to know where is the wound. So they saw a wound, a very deep wound was inside his stomach. So the king washed and covered it with the handkerchief. Now the king started working as a servant, and he started working, and you can see over here, the king was not a king at all. He just became a very simple, kind and humble person. And he started serving that person, and he washed it with his handkerchief. And now here, very simple thing, but for the king is a tremendous thing. Or you can say it's a strange thing for the king that he was using his own handkerchief to cover that wound. So that is a very great thing, I think so. But the blood would not stop flowing. Now here, after tightening his handkerchief around his stomach, around his waist, what he saw, the blood was not stopped. It was continuously flowing. The king redressed wound until at last the bleeding stopped. And he was keep changing that wounds with the other type of the linen or other type of clothes. He was just continuously changing that bandage. But it was not stopped. But he was continuously changing till the bleeding was stopped. Now we are moving to the next paragraph. The men felt better and asked for something to drink. After so many hard work, they were trying to stop his bleeding. After so many effort, that bleeding was stopped. But now, what happened? The man felt very, very much thirsty, or you can say felt better. So that is why because after bleeding, normally a person feeling very weak. So here you can see the example, the men felt better after the bleeding was stopped and asked for something to drink. Okay. The king brought fresh water and gave it to him. Now here, children, you can see a transformation of the king. The king became a very simple person, a serving person, and along with the hermit, he started serving that person. So that kindness you can see over here. That type of the kindness and humbleness he was showing to this person. And he brought fresh water for him, for that wounded person, and gave it to him. By this time, the sun had set and the air was cool. Now here, the sun was setting down, and in the evening, as you all know, the cool air, the cool breeze used to flow. So that time was also atmosphere was very calm and beautiful and cool. The king, with the hermit's help, carried the wounded man into the hut and laid on the bed. Now children, here you can see, because already sunset was there, so the night ready to come, as you all know. So after that, the king with the hermit helps carried the wounded man into the hut. So they carried it and into the hut, because they can't left this person alone outside of the hut. So the wounded man into the hut and laid him on the bed. Okay. The man closed his eyes and lay quiet because he felt very, very low that time, and that is why he just quiet. The king, tired by his walk and the work he had done, lay down on the floor and slept through the night. When he awoke, it was several minutes before he could remember where he was or who the strange bearded man lying on the bed was. Now children, here you can see, after it was a really you can't say a good day, but it's a very tough day for the king, because king was not used to do these type of the work, because he used to sit on the throne and giving his decision and suggesting someone. So these type of the work is not the work of the king, but he was doing continuously from morning to night. And in the first part of the story you have already seen, he was digging the bed continuously 2 hours, 3 hours. Okay. Now after that the wounded man has come over there, and after that he was starting serving that person. So not because it was a tough day for the king, and when the king lay down on the floor, he slept and he did not know where he was. So that type of the tiredness you can see in the body of the king. Now children, we are moving to the next paragraph, that is you can find on page number 12. So page number 11 we have completed, children. Now we are moving to the page number 12. Now one word meaning it is there in the last paragraph, that is redressed. So please write it down. Redressed, dressed again. Okay. So this is the word meaning. Please write it down. Now children, we are moving to the next line. Forgive me, said the bearded man in a weak voice when he saw that the king was awake. Now king slept, and after he awoke, he could not able to understand where he was. And when the meek voice has come over there, and what was he said, forgive me, said the bearded man in a weak voice when he saw the king was awake. I do not know you and have nothing to forgive you for, said the king. The king was astonished. He was amazed to see that type of the request. And he said, I don't know who you are. I don't remind that I have done anything or you have done anything wrong with me. So how can I forgive you? Okay? You do not know me, but I know you. I am that enemy of yours who swore revenge on you, because you put my brother to death and seized my property. I knew you had gone alone to see that hermit, and I made up my mind to kill you on your way home. But the day passed and you did not return. So I left my hiding place and I came upon your bodyguard, who recognized me and wounded me. I escaped from him, but I should have died if you had not dressed my wounds. I wish to kill you, and you have saved my life. Now, if I live, I will serve you as your most faithful servant and will order my sons to do the same. Forgive me. Now here, when the king told him that I don't know you, so how can I forgive you? So now here, children, you can see, you do not know me. The person, the bearded man said, You do not know me, but I know you. Here he started his explanation about his whatever the thing, whatever the incident was happened in the past. I am that enemy of yours who swore revenge on you. I am your enemy, and I wanted to revenge with you because you put my brother to death and seized my property. Because you the person, you king, the person who seized my property and killed my brother. So that is why I oath to kill you someday. So that was the chance for me. I came here, and I came here to follow you, but your bodyguard saw me and he was trying to kill me, but I saved. But he said over here, I made up my mind to kill you on your way home. But the day passed and you did not return, so I left my hiding place and I came upon your bodyguard who recognized me and wounded me. I escaped from him, but I should have died if you had not dressed my wound. Now children, here you can see he was following king. But what he found? He found the king went inside the wood, but he could not came back. So that time he was waiting over there. And that waiting, the soldier, the bodyguard, had seen. So that is why he hid himself, and that time what happened? The bodyguard attacked him, but he escaped from that place. And he was coming to that hermit hut, and what he found? He found the king was there, and the king was served him. Okay. Now here, I wish to kill you. You have saved my life. Now if I live, I will serve you as your most faithful servant and will order my sons to do the same. Forgive me. Now he was, you can say, repenting that time. He was repenting that my idea was to kill you, the king. But after your serving, after your healing kind of touch you have given to me on my wounded area, and you have changed my bandage again and again till my bleeding was stopped, and you served me a lot, you gave me fresh water, so you showed kindness on me. So that is why I am so much grateful to you. So please forgive me. So here the king did not understand what he was telling him, but here children, you can understand by this text that it's something was really strange for the king. Now here, if I live, now here he said that if I live, so I will serve you with my family. And I will tell my children also to serve you. And I will become a faithful servant of yours, king. So through his life, he stayed like a faithful servant of the king. Now we are moving to the next paragraph. The king was very happy to have made peace with his enemy so easily, and to have won him over as a friend. He not only forgave him, but said he would send his servant and his own doctor to look after him, and he promised to give back the man his property. Now king felt satisfied in his heart, because he done nothing, only and only he served that person, and that serving changed his whole attitude, that bearded person. So now the miracle was happened in his life. The person was transformed. He was a killer. He came here to kill that king. But now what happened? the transformation you can see. Transformation you can see over here. The king felt so satisfied that enemy become his friend. So he was so happy to see this. In no any workout or any hard work, that enemy become his friend. So he was so happy and so relaxed, and to have won him over as a friend. He not only forgave him, but said he would send the servant but his own doctor to look after him, and he promised to give back the man his property. And he told that bearded man that I'll send you my servant to serve you, and I'll return your property, whatever it was seized by me or my people. So I'll give you back. So that type of the authority he showed and the assurance he had given to that bearded man. Now we are moving to the next paragraph. So before going to start next paragraph, the one word meaning you can see over here, that is seized. Seized is there. So took by force. Took by force, children. So here seized, took by force, and faithful. It is quite easy for you, faithful. It's not a tough word. Loyal and true. Loyal and true. Loyal and true. This is the meaning of faithful, children. So now, children, we have completed this paragraph. Now we are moving to the next line. Leaving the wounded man, the king went out of the hut and looked round for the hermit. Before going away, he wished once more to get answer to his questions. The hermit was on his knees, sowing seeds in his bed that had been dug the day before. The king went up to the hermit and said, "For the last time I beg you to answer my questions, wise man." Now, children, after this incident, the king felt relaxed in his heart. Now, leaving the wounded man left that hut. And what happened? The king went out of the hut and looked round for the hermit. He started searching hermit where he was, and he found hermit. He was sowing seeds inside that dug beds, whatever they dug beds they dug a day before. So that time he was sowing the seeds inside that beds. Now the hermit was in his knees and sowing seeds in his bed, and had been dug the day before. The king went up to the hermit and said, "For the last time I beg you to answer my question, wise man." Now he bent on his knees and he was urging that, "Please give me my 3 answers. Please, I begging you to give my answers, my 3 questions answer." So that was really, really amazing thing that the person was changed, totally changed. The wounded man was changed at his heart, and he went back. The king promised to deliver his property, whatever he seized. So now the change you can see, the kindness of the king and the transformation of the heart you have already seen in this paragraph. Children, we will be continuing this next page tomorrow. So children, today we have learned about the transformation of the king. He served that person, the wounded person. He used his handkerchief, which I think that was very expensive, and he used for that as like a bandage. So these type of the incident teaches us that we should humble ourselves. Whatever the position we are performing in our society or whatever we are, we should humble ourselves, we should show the kindness to others, because the kindness and humbleness can change the heart of the world, any person. Even those people who are not liking you or hating you, they will also become your friend because of your kind heart, because of your humbleness. So please treat other people with a kind word. Don't speak any harsh word to others. So children, this is the message from this page. And children, tomorrow we will be continuing the same chapter, and I think the last page is left. So tomorrow we will be continuing the same chapter. And after that we will do comprehension check. Okay children? So till then, bye-bye and take care. Revise this chapter once again. Write the answer. Okay children? Write this answer and this also. Okay, till then, bye-bye and take care.